Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships for our 2025 upgrade and commander build for the Tier 10 American Heavy Cruiser, the USS Des Moines, and the legend of itself. And here you can see Freedom Rings with the Freedom permanent camouflage. I'm going to go ahead and pull it off real quick, just so you guys can see the ship better as we talk about the hull. Armor scheme, and then we'll get into the modules, upgrades, combat signals, consumables, and the commander build itself, hopefully all in a timely manner. So, what kind of cruiser is Des Moines? Well, yes, she's a heavy cruiser, but is she a brawling cruiser? Is she a long-range cruiser? Is she a medium-range cruiser? Honestly, Des Moines works best in the mid-range, so that's utilizing her 10-kilometer radar. It's utilizing these 9 203mm guns. Sometimes it's just the 2 front turrets, focusing objective areas, key corridors on various maps on the seas. That's really where Des Moines will excel. The best at in utilizing island coverage, smokes, and maybe even some tricks up her sleeve, which we'll get into when we talk about the build as a whole. In terms of her armor layout, she's got a combination of 27, a combination of 30, and 152 armor belt here. So she can be overmatched by various calibers. I think like a 406 should overmatch the bow, and I'll just like confirm that right now, so I don't have to edit it in later or forget to. Yeah, so basically it has to be 386.1. or higher, so like a 387mm or higher caliber will overmatch the bow. So basically like 406s, 420s and up will overmatch the bow. For the 30 you need a 431mm or higher, so something more like a Republic will overmatch the side plating. And then you can bounce even larger battleship caliber shells along the Citadel armor. Very vital to helping you out, and you get a combination of the same deck plating as you see on the front end, aft end plating here as well. When we strip away the armor to see where the Citadel is, it is above waterline Citadel. You can absolutely be dove struck if you go broadside to other heavy cruisers, battleships. So that's something to be very mindful of. And then even when we look up over Des Moines, something like Recruitment, or I believe like a Hakuyu, could Citadel you through with the AP dive bombers. So do be mindful of that. I think Hakuyu has its, maybe I'm talking nonsense right now. We can just find out real quick, because I'm trying to give you guys accurate information and not talk nonsense. It's hard. There's a lot of different characteristics in this game. Yeah, I'm right. Okay, we've established the correctness of FlimsyLunchTray in this video. I'm doubting myself too much right now because I'm sick with the cold, so apologies for that. So yeah, so do be mindful of that. That's the other really tough thing, is airstrikes with like Golden Lion or Prince van Oranje, Wilhelm de Eerste. They will wreck you. They will mess you up, so be mindful of that. In terms of the gun plating, you got 203 on the front, 95 on the side, 102 on the top, and 51 on the back. So your guns can be incapacitated, especially if you get into these bow-on engagements with other cruisers, battleships. So do be mindful of that. So you can easily take out another enemy Des Moines or Salem's front turrets with your 203s and utilizing the armor piercing. That being said, let's just look at the modules real quick here. So it's all stock, or there's nothing needed to be upgraded. Some ships have it, like the GK has had it in the past. But what you have here is 203s. They're excellent guns, despite time passing for the Des Moines compared to my 2020 video. Her high explosive DPM and her armor piercing DPM stays very competitive even as time goes on, still within the top 10. Only a few ships have kind of pushed her down a little bit more since her introduction to the game. So you have a 5.5 second reload time. We could technically get that down more. I'll get into that. We have Halsey. He has this enhanced gun feeder skill, so only 2.2 second shell type switching time. 180 return time of 25 seconds, also utilizing Halsey Grease the Gears enhanced skill, and a maximum HE shell damage of 2800, maximum AP shell damage 5000. Hit point wise, we are running Survivability Expert on Halsey to bump us up to 55,100. With Charlie Kilo, plus 5% for ship HP, it pushes us up to 57,900. Now, when you compare Des Moines to all other tier 10 cruisers, she has dropped drastically within the last several years in the game. She's like, I think, of all tier 10 cruisers in the game, I think she's positioned number 34 of like 50 some tier 10 cruisers in the game. So that sucks. Okay, so Des Moines is not as a healthy competitor as she used to be since 2021, and that way in the game hasn't been so kind to her. So run that Charlie Kilo, run that Survivability Expert on your commander. Your gun range is 15.8. Some commanders may complain about this. I think it's perfectly fine. Honestly, it's really difficult landing shells out past 15.8. Like, as an example, just compare, like, play if you have Illinois, which has 12 203s, like, try farming damage at range with Illinois. Like, it's actually quite difficult to land the shells because the shell traveling time and the shell velocity is so slow. 15.8 is fine. Like, ideally, you're playing key objectives, you're playing caps, you're working islands, you're working smoke screens to help you out. So that's the life of the Des Moines. It's very frustrating to try to land shots on even destroyers with engine boosts past 12 kilometers, if you will, unless they have the straight Linus condition. Propulsion, 33 knots. We can bump that up with Sarah Mike to 34.7. All right, upgrades. Let me try to move quickly here. What we have in the first slot is the main Armaments Mod 1. This reduces the risk of your main battery becoming incapacitated by negative 20%. Main battery survivability plus 50%, and main battery repair time negative 20%. This is very much needed on Des Moines because her main armament is her bread and butter. So please do run this. Others do not apply here. If you want a spotting aircraft mod 1, uninstall the game immediately. We'll get into that in a bit. The second slot, if you have the ability to run a special upgrade, I highly recommend the Surveillance Radar mod 1. This is a plus 20% action time on the radar. So this helps us reach this 42-second consumable action time. And it's a very powerful medium range radar. Again, 10 kilometer long range radar is considered 12. But it's really phenomenal to keep destroyers, cruisers in your radar range for longer, if you know, utilizing smokes, whatever. So please go with this. 12,750 coal if you use the 25% off coupon. Otherwise, full price is 17,000 coal. And you get that coupon once a month. Otherwise, if you don't have the coal resources, I would recommend running the engine room protection. This reduces the risk of your engine and steering gears becoming incapacitated by negative 20%, and engine and steering gears repair time, negative 20%. Third slot, aiming systems mod 1. I'll put it on the right side of the screen here. You're reducing your maximum horizontal dispersion and maximum vertical dispersion by negative 7%. So you're getting more accurate salvos. Your sigma stays the same, but your dispersion is improved, which is really helpful when you get broadside light cruisers, battle cruisers, and you can farm their broadsides with the citadels. It's definitely needed, definitely recommend. You get a slight buff on your secondary battery as well, but it's the main batteries why you take this. Otherwise, the second follow-up would be the main battery mod 2, which is a main battery traverse speed plus 15%, because these 203s have a little bit of a turning radius time to help you out. I mean, right, we said 25 seconds, and I'll get into that because it's closer, I think, to 30-second stock. Fourth slot, I recommend running Propulsion mod 1. Your time take to reach maximum speed, I looked before dropping on this video, would be like 62 seconds. When you take the prop mod, it drops you down to 57. Now, it's not so much about reaching that maximum speed, it's more about getting underway. It increases your speed, like say you're at a standstill and you accelerate, it gets you moving. You need this to help avoid a lot of the overmatch or other things like airstrikes that might be coming in on you, or torpedoes, submarine torpedoes, right? I really recommend this as the number one here. Otherwise, we can talk about Steering Gears Mod 1, but I'm not going to push Steering Gears Mod 1 because our 6th slot helps cover us here. So this is the one you want to run. 5th slot, you want the Concealment System Mod 1. Ship detectably range, -10%. Ground detectably range, -10%. Dispersion of shells fired by enemies attacking your ship, +5%. I think the stock conceal on Des Moines is like 13.4. If, let's say, you didn't have conceal on the commander, but you took it here, then it drops you down to 12.10. You take conceal on the commander, drops you to 10.89, technically just 10.9. And you have a 0.9 kilometer difference between your radar and your detection radius. So you do want to be running concealment. It's one of the things that greatly aids you in your fight. Now, I have seen other people for Salem take Steering Gears Mod 2 if you're doing more Lighthouse build, but I don't recommend that on Des Moines. Concealment System Mod 1 is best, but you could actually, this could be a second follow-up. 6th slot, if you have access to the Research Bureau, or I think you have to get 5 tier 10 ships before you get access to Research Bureau. Maybe Wargaming has changed it since. You get these things called unique upgrades. They were also known as legendary upgrades. And for Des Moines, you have this enhanced propulsion plant, which you see I'm running here. This improves your ship's tactical role by increasing the efficiency of dynamic short and medium range engagements. Your rudder shift time, -20%. So that covers this one, right? And then time to reach full engine power and accelerating, -50%. So you stack this one on top of this one, it's like a Ferrari engine, man. It's amazing. And you saw us juking several Montana salvos yesterday, except one, which we ate like 2 Citadels from, or at least one. And it's a powerhouse. It's excellent, right? So let me show you really fast. If you have access to Research Bureau, or if you're brand new and you're like, hey, I've got the dumb one, but I have no idea what we're talking about, Flimsy, I'll just show you what it looks like really fast and trying to keep this video time sensitive. So here you see Research Bureau, and you get these things called research points here. And then there's several things you can do here, but particularly under the upgrades category, you buy these for 19,200 research points. So if I scroll down, you'll see I actually only have 2. I've been focusing on picking up more ships for research points than upgrades, and I'm hoping to change that soon. And here you can see the enhanced propulsion plant for Des Moines, which tells you which slot it goes into. Sometimes it's slot 5, sometimes it's slot 4 even, I think, depending on which ship. But this is an amazing, it's like S tier, like it's just so good. So I've kind of gone for the better ones here first, of the ones I've picked up so far. I want to throw the Freedom Permanent Camouflage back on because it just feels better. Otherwise, if you don't have access to Research Bureau, or let's say you don't have enough points yet, then run the main battery mod 3. This will improve your main battery reload time by -12%, so that 5.5 will drop down closer to 5 seconds. So like, what it would be like, yeah, around 5 seconds, just maybe slightly above. So this is usually you run this on Salem, right? But on Des Moines, I go for this, right? But anyhow, -12%, main battery traverse speed, -13%. So your traverse speed will go up. So do be mindful of that. That's one of the trade-offs here with the main battery mod 3. In terms of armament, you have the legendary 203 guns that Des Moines has. Her 203 high explosive has a 14% chance of causing fire on a target. We could bump that up, get up to 16%. You penetrate 34mm. That's one of the things why the 203 is so good. So a lot of the battleships, for example, have like 32mm plating. Like Republic, for as an example, is covered in 32mm plating. I think the bow of Montana has 32. You know, a lot of the American battleships have a lot of 32 on the bow and stern plating. So you can farm and penetrate the bows of many battleships in the game because you penetrate the 32mm, you penetrate 34mm. 823 meters a second initial velocity. Armor piercing, the initial velocity drops to 762 meters a second. It's not a big difference, but if you're really paying attention, you might notice it. But you do 5,000 damage, so that's quite good. So you can, like, I love Citadeling Minotaur broadside, right? Those light cruisers, Genon, even Goliath is easy to break through. So utilize armor piercing. You're going to be constantly switching back and forth between these two. They're both excellent, so you get more out of Des Moines the more you master when to use high explosive, when to master armor piercing. Depth charge airstrike, 30-second reload time, 2 available flights, 1 aircraft per flight, 8-kilometer range, bombs and payload 2, 4,900 damage. Consumables, damage control party, action time 5 seconds, cooldown time 60 seconds, standard, unlimited number of charges. Your repair party, HP per second 289. With India Delta, we can bump that up to 347 because here you see plus 20% is the effect here. So if you're playing randoms ranked clan battles, you're definitely going to be running to run India Delta. Consumable action time 28 seconds, cooldown time 80 seconds, and we get 4 of these. Also due to our build, which I'll show you on Halsey here in a moment. And here on your consumables, you have multiple options between the two. So I think it's best to be running the hydroacoustic search and the surveillance radar. Now, you can take defensive AA fire. I don't really recommend it. Actually, the AA, maybe I got mixed up between the AA on Des Moines and the amount of hit points Des Moines has. I'll just throw it on the left side of the screen here to show you maybe. But AA has fallen off a cliff for Des Moines compared to other tier 10 cruisers in the game. She used to be a no-fly zone. Now she's more like, fly over me, it's fine. And you kind of saw the difficulty we're having with the Malta in yesterday's video, which will be tagged at the end of this video. But because there's so many torpedoes in the game, looking at you, particularly submarines, and more battleships getting torpedoes, more cruisers getting torpedoes, more destroyers, La Pampa, La Pampa has 15 torps like Shimakaze, and then I think it has a torpedo reload boost, however that thing works. So hydroacoustic search honestly is just the best way to go. It's 3.5 detection of torpedoes, 5 for ships, and you spot enemy submarines, maximum depth 2 kilometers, 100-second action time, cooldown time 102 seconds, and we get 4 of them. Surveillance radar, it's the boss. You want to be taking surveillance radar. I have no clue why I see Des Moines players once in a blue moon running spotting aircraft. It's a meme in a very bad way of being a meme. There's so many other ships in the game with 203s that have more range than Des Moines. Like, go play Cerberus, go play Hindenburg, right? Go play these other cruisers that can reach out with the 203s that are designed. Like Hindenburg's designed to be running spotting aircraft, right? You don't get radar on Hindenburg, but you want to be running the radar here in Des Moines. 10 kilometer, 42-second action time when we pair it with the surveillance radar mod 1. And then you have a 120-second action time, number of consumables 4. Now we can shorten the cooldown time with November Foxtrot, so 114, 76, 57. We can extend our hydro time with Sierra Bravo by plus 10%, so we go from 100 to 110. And then I run the Hotel Yankee, damage caused by ramming an enemy plus 50%, damage received from ramming an enemy negative 20%. The only other thing I'd like to run here to help me out with my A defense, which has a rating of 84, would be to take November Echo set 7, just to have more continuous damage and damage from shell explosions. Otherwise, I prefer a 10 seconds additional time on my Hydro. Very helpful. So that's what I like to run as a whole. So you have a bit of some coal and research points synced into the upgrades here. But in terms of the commander, we have William Halsey. To gain access, let's say you're a new player to the Halsey, the way you get him is through the campaigns. There's the hit hard, hit fast, hit often campaign here. And you'll go through all these tasks, and once you reach level 5, you are issued a 15-point commander, William Halsey. You can do these tasks again and again and again. So even after you've been issued the reward, you've done it, you can click and do that same task over. Because there's a couple here that are CV oriented, which isn't so fun, to be honest. So you can see like I'm taking a very long time to do this one here because I don't play much CV in the game. But that is where you find Halsey once you've gone through all those combat missions, mission chain, if you will. I'm going to switch back to equipment. I like the darker background when I do this. His talents are, he has two. He has the Implacable talent, which activates upon earning the Confederate achievement. Main battery reload time, -20%. Torpedo tube reload time, -10%. Aircraft preparation time, -20%. So you purposely want to be farming out the Confederate skill, which is doing X amount of damage, I think, across 5 or 6 enemy ships, players in the game. And then you spark this talent, and so that makes up for you, for example, not running the main battery mod 3 on the 6th slot to have that faster reload time. But now you got a 20% reload time, right? And then a little buff, I'm guessing, for your airstrike, for your depth charge planes. But it's really, really, really good. It's one of my favorite things to activate in terms of talents across all of the legendary unique commanders. You also have the Untraceable skill. This activates once per battle upon earning the Double Strike achievement. Ship's detectability range, -10%. Squadron detectability range, -10%. So you could technically drop your concealment down to like 10, roughly, which is fun. I've only done it a handful of times on Des Moines and Salem. Not too often. It's usually towards the end of the game. But it can be like you have a fire ticking on someone, and then you're shooting another person, and the guy who was on fire dies while you then kill the destroyer or sub or whatever. There's a few ways you can work it out, or there's 2 destroyers really close together, both low health, and you shoot both of them within 5-second window time to get the double strike. It's definitely doable. I've even seen people get triple strikes, which you don't, there's nothing in the game that rewards you for that. It used to be you got, I think, a combat signal if you got the double strike skill, but, you know, Wargaming took that away. Then just some personalizations that you can turn off or on. So if people see your red shell tracer on your Des Moines, Salem, or whatever American ship, they know you're running Halsey. So some people like to turn it off to troll with them, that they can't figure out, oh, they don't know if you did, just think you have a normal commander. So that's a little bit of a mental game if you want to know. His 2 enhanced skills are Grease the Gears. Rather than a plus 15%, it's a plus 20% on the main battery traverse speed. On the gun feeder, versus it being a normal standard -40%, it's actually -60% for the main battery to shell type switching time. And you want to be running this on your Des Moines and Salem. It's great. Very, very, very good to have on your cruisers here. So let me walk you through my build. So this is my 21-point build. Halsey Commander. I have liked this. It's been tried and true over the years. There's a few other skills that could be had here, but it means sacrificing certain skills to then pick that up that have changed over time, particularly this A, Defense and ASW Expert skill. We didn't have certain perks on it in the past. And then they've changed some things around, like with focus fire training. So let's crack into it here. And I think Outnumbered is a newer skill since the last time I've done the Des Moines video. So I'll walk you through my build first, and then I'll show you some other possibilities to think about. So if you're going to be building up the line with your commander, let's say you have 10 points is what you're starting off with, right? And you want to get one of the 4 points in. I'd probably say for Halsey, for Des Moines, go for gun feeder first, just because you're going to be constantly switching between high explosive and armor piercing. You could take main by Grease the Gears, but I prefer gun feeder first. For your 3-point commander, or 3 points, then take priority target. Detection indicator additionally shows the number of opponents on the enemy team that are currently aiming at your ship with their main battery guns. I really like this skill, mainly because of playing caps in key objective areas. I really need to know who's aiming at me. I've been cross-map shot by Shikishimas before. So when you have one targeting you, it's like, okay, none of these guys in front of me have a line of sight on me. Then you start looking around and you see, you know, these 18-inch shells, armor piercing, flying at you from 15 kilometers away from a Shikishima that shot at you. It's like, oh, I should probably move. And you can do that with the enhanced propulsion in time and be completely fine. So I like running this. Also, if a destroyer is torpedoing you, let's say he's the only one detecting you, he's the only one targeting you, what will happen is you'll be detected and you'll see one targeting, detected, one targeting, like when the one comes and goes. That means he's switching to his torpedoes. When he switches from his main battery to his torpedoes, he's kind of like flashing you is what it's known as. So when your hydro is down, this is really helpful. I use this on Salem all the time because Salem, you don't have hydroacoustic search on unless you don't take the radar. But you shouldn't be so lazy either, right? But it's really helpful, and I use it several times yesterday to avoid some Yang torpedoes when I'm playing Salem on EU. Then for 6 points, I would just go for Adrenaline Rush, to be honest. Main battery reload time will be reduced as you lose hit points, and you get slight buff to just A damage. Then for 10 point, I'd go for Consumables Expert to get you down to that nice 10.9. Now after this, for a 13 point build, I would probably then jump to Survivability Expert to help boost your survivability. So respectively, you see the 57,900. Then from a 13 point, I would probably then pick up as a 14 point commander. I would probably then go for Grease the Gears or Gun Feeder, whichever the 2 1 points you didn't get to start with. And then 18 point commander, a 17 point commander, going from 14 to 13 point, 14 plus 3 points, 17 point Superintendent to give you the 4 radars, the 4 heals, the 4 hydroacoustic searches, rather than just having 3 across the board. And then from a 17 to a 21 point build, the Top Grade Gunner. So you have a permanent effect of a negative 10% on your main battery reload time, but the additional skill that can be activated is the increasing your main battery reload time when an enemy ship is within your ship's standard detectability range, which causes changes to ship detectability caused by firing your main guns, fires on board, and other combat events are not taken into account. So basically, whenever there's an enemy ship within 10.9, this activates and you have a negative 8% on the reload time. So this skill has really good synergy with the main battery mod 3 on the 6th slot. Like, let's say if you don't have enhanced propulsion yet, or you don't have access to a switch burrow point. So those two work really well, so I just want to highlight that. This build has very good synergy on Salem because I am running main battery mod 3 on Salem. So I'm just trying to keep that ship in mind as well, because that ship's also fantastic. So this works out really well. I've really liked this build over the years with Des Moines and Salem. Now, some of the things that have changed since, like the other 4-point skill I would consider would be the A, Defense and ASW Expert. Your airstrike depth charge damage goes up by plus 15%. Your continuous A damage plus 25%. Damage from A shell explosions plus 25%. And also improves your ship's characteristics when her AA guns are active. Ship consumable preparation and reload time, negative 50%. So basically, let's say that Malta, when he was striking me all day yesterday in that game, my consumables are going to come off of cooldown way faster, particularly let's talk about the damage control party, or maybe I have that other heal that I really need. So rather than being like an 80-second, it's a 40-second cooldown time. And then you have November Foxtrot, which works out really well in getting these off faster. Like then we're closer to underneath the 30-second cooldown time on the damage control party. So it's a really great skill. I run this on Worcester, because Worcester is very AA heavy. So I really like this skill. If I didn't want a faster reload time on my main battery, this would be the skill I would recommend second here. This would be my second build recommendation. Drop Top Grade Gunner, go for a Defense and ASW Expert. Other commanders, I know they're not so hip about priority target. They're okay without having priority target. So then some go for consumable enhancements to have a tag of plus 10% on the hydro and surveillance radar action time, which is doable here. But what requires is you don't have any situational awareness. You're not taking either of these skills. So you really do have to be paying attention who's firing at you. Other people I know, they take focused fire training. here. I've seen players take it. Some players like fire chance increase, but I would say just play Cerberus for Demolition Expert. You don't need it on Des Moines. So really these two are debatable here. The other skill that gets talked about with Des Moines is the heavy AP shells. Your main battery AP shell damage with a main battery caliber of 190mm and above, so we're talking about 203s, will go up by plus 5%. So basically meaning when we're looking at the armor piercing, which right now does 5,000, we go 5,000 times 1.05, 5,250 per shell, right? So if you get all 9 shells here, basically you're getting an additional 2,250 damage per salvo, assuming they all do full penetrations, right? So some people like that, but then you have to give up one of your 3-point skills, or you could actually drop Top Gun Gunner, take heavy AP shells, gives you another 1-point skill, which then you could take Incoming Fire Alert, switch priority target over to Consumable Enhancements. So whenever a salvo is fired at you from a distance greater than 4.5, Incoming Fire Alert like ticks on the center right of your screen, so you know someone just fired at you and you probably need to take evasive maneuvers. So that's something you could do. You just be very heavy on the 3-point skills. So with that being said, this is my number 1 recommendation. Number 2 recommendation, drop Top Gun Gunner, take a Defense and ASW Expert. Yeah, the second recommendation. Third recommendation would be dropping... How would we want to do this? I guess drop Top Grade Gunner, take heavy AP shell, heavy AP shells, take Incoming Fire Alert, and swap priority target over to Consumable Enhancements. And then the other recommendation would just be take Consumable Enhancements, keep the same build, and pray that you're paying attention and have good situational awareness. Most players in the game are going to want one of these 2 skills on Des Moines, but if you're playing competitive or you play at a higher skill floor level, then you don't hurt as much because you're paying attention, right? That would be the recommendation there. So with that being said, that draws the video to a close. If you liked today's video, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you subscribe, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. And drop your build advice for Des Moines in the comments below. This is just my opinion. It's not the main foolproof build, but it's the one I found for me that works the best out of Des Moines and Salem being among my favorite heavy cruisers to play in the game. Until next time, take care.